The dust chokes him. Kale's lungs burn, each breath a searing intake of grit and terror. Behind them, the chirps and hisses are not birdsong, they are the language of death closing in. He glances back. Gor, the slowest of their party, stumbles. A flicker of brown and grey, a blur of motion, and a sickle claw, long as a man's forearm, rises and falls. Gor's scream is cut short, swallowed by the vast, indifferent badlands. There is no time to mourn. There is no time. The screams of the others driving him forward. The hunt for desert melons has become a race from the hunters of the flats, the pack that thinks and plans, the Utahraptors. Then, through the shimmering heat haze, he sees it. A blasphemy of bone. The skeleton of a true giant from an age before humans, a colossal sauropod, its immense ribcage rising from the eroded earth like the ruin of a cathedral. The ribs, thick as tree trunks and curved like immense scythes, form a lattice of shadow and light. It is a shelter. It is the only chance. It is the only chance. The bones, he roars, his voice cracking. A desperate command to the 3 remaining members of his party. A small band of Australopithecus veers a stumbling, bleeding herd. They are not tall, these early humans, but built for endurance, their powerful legs and long arms now pushed to their absolute limit. They scramble over sun-baked shale, their bare feet cut and bruised. The raptors, intelligent and patient, adjust their course, their flanking maneuvers less a chase and more a deliberate act of herding. They are driving them exactly where they want them to go. They tumble through a wide gap between 2 colossal ribs, gasping, collapsing onto the dusty floor within. For a moment, there is only the sound of their own ragged breathing. They are inside. Safe, or so they think. Kel scrambles to his feet, clutching his stone-tipped spear. Its precious flint point a small comfort. Through the bars of their newfound cage, he watches the pack slow to a predatory stroll. They do not charge. They do not leave. There are 5 of them, lean and powerful. Their hides a mottled camouflage of desert earth. They circle the ribcage, their heads low, their intelligent eyes missing nothing. One, larger than the rest, with a scarred snout and a terrifying stillness, stops directly in front of Kale's position. It tilts its head, a strangely bird-like gesture, and a low, rumbling growl emanates from its chest. Its gaze is not the vacant look of a dumb beast. It is calculating. It is assessing. The realization dawns on Kale with the cold weight of a burial stone. This is not a fortress. It is a trap. The raptors have not lost their prey. They have merely penned it for a later, more convenient slaughter. The sun beats down on their cage of bone, and the long wait begins. The sun crawls across the sky, a merciless eye of white fire. Hours bleed into one another, measured only by the shifting shadows of the bone bars that imprison them. Thirst is the first enemy to breach their defenses. It is a physical presence, a rasp in the throat, a dull ache behind the eyes. They have a single water skin, half full from the morning's failed expedition. Kale, the oldest, assumes the role of keeper. He doles out a single, agonizing mouthful to each of the 3 others. Lyra, young and weary, Terrakay, a powerful but shaken hunter, and himself. It is not enough. It will never be enough. Outside, the Utahraptors wait. Their patience is a weapon as potent as their claws. They do not waste energy in the crushing heat. They lie in the shade cast by the colossal skeleton, a ring of sleeping death. As dusk bleeds purple and orange across the badlands, the pack stirs. The cooler air invigorates them. The scarred leader rises, stretches, and approaches the ribcage. It does not attack. It studies. It pushes with its powerful snout against a smaller, fractured rib near the base, testing its strength. The bone groans and dust trickles down. Another raptor begins to dig at the compacted earth beneath the skeleton, its claws scraping methodically, searching for a way under. This is not a mindless assault. This is a siege. They are dismantling their prison one piece at a time. The psychological toll is immense. Every scrape of a claw, every low growl is a countdown to their own extinction. Terrakay, his nerve fraying, hurls a rock through the bars. It bounces harmlessly off the scarred leader's flank. The beast doesn't even flinch. It simply turns its head, its yellow eye fixing Terra K with an unnerving, reptilian intelligence. The message is clear: your fear is our entertainment. It is then that Lyra, huddled near the site of the raptors probing, notices something. A large flat shard of fossilized bone has been dislodged by the leader's push. It is heavy, its edge fractured into a wickedly sharp point. She shows it to Kale. His eyes, clouded with thirst and despair, suddenly clear. He looks from the shard in her hand to the fossilized vertebrae lining the ceiling of their cage, then back to the stone chopper at his hip. A desperate ember of an idea glows in the bleakness of his mind. This is the turning point in hominid history, a moment unseen and unrecorded, yet monumental. They will not wait to be devoured. Kale motions for the others. He takes the shard and, using his chopper, begins to strike it with controlled force. The chink of stone on ancient bone is a new sound in the dying light. It is the sound of defiance. He is not just making a weapon, he is demonstrating a concept. He is sharpening a piece of their cage to defend the cage itself. This is the birth of osteodontokeratic technology forged in Terra. Terra K, his panic replaced by grim purpose, finds another fragment and begins to copy him. They work through the night. Their thirst-fueled labors are quiet, rhythmic rebellion against the circle of waiting predators. They are turning their tomb into an armory, piece by painful piece. The third dawn breaks not with hope, but with the clarity of a death sentence. The water skin is empty, a dry, wrinkled husk. Lyra lies still, her breathing shallow, her lips cracked and pale. Thirst is no longer an enemy. It is the victor, patiently claiming its prize. Outside, the Utahraptors sense the end is near. They are agitated, moving with a restless energy, their hisses and chirps growing more frequent. The scarred leader has returned to the spot beneath the main arch of the sauropod's colossal spine, staring in as if choosing its first meal. There are no more hours to wait. There are only moments. Kale catches Terra KSI and a silent, desperate understanding passes between them. The plan is madness. It is their only path away from the grave. He points upward. Above them, the massive, interlocking vertebrae of the dead giant hang, like a mountain range turned upside down. They are held in place by the very ribs that form their cage, ribs that had been weakened by eons of erosion and the grabbing claws of their captors. Kel mimes the action, a great push, a final, collective effort to break the supporting bones and bring the roof of their world crashing down. It is a suicidal gamble. The bone storm could kill them as easily as the raptors, but to die by chance is better than to die by the claw. It is the grim arithmetic of survival skills at the edge of the void. Terra K nods, his face a mask of resolve. He and Kale moved to the most fractured rib, the one the leader had tested. They wedged their sharpened bone stakes into the cracks, crude levers born of primitive technology. Lyra stirs, seeing them, and with a groan, crawls to help, her last reserves of strength ignited by the primal will to live. They heave. The ancient bone groans in protest. A web of cracks spreads from their levers. Outside, the scarred leader looks up, its bird-like head tilting in curiosity at the strange grinding sound. It is a fatal moment of inquiry. With a final, synchronized draw of effort, the hunters try their entire weight against the levers. The rib splinters, then snaps with a sound like a thunderclap. For a heartbeat, there is an impossible silence. Then, gravity reclaims its own. The landslide of bone is not a crash, it is the deconstruction of an era. Dozens of vertebrae, each the size of a boulder, detach and fall in a cascade of unimaginable violence. The scarred leader is obliterated instantly, a flash of grey and brown erased by a ton of fossilized history. Two other raptors are caught in the avalanche of bone, their predatory shrieks cut short. The ground shakes, and a choking cloud of dust explodes outward, blinding and suffocating. Shielded only by the curve of the remaining ribs. When the tremor subsides, there is a new ringing silence. The cage is broken, a wide gap has been torn open, and beyond it lies the wounded, terrified remnants of the pack. One raptor limps away, its legs shattered. The other has simply vanished into the dust. Kale stumbles to his feet, pulls Lyra up, and with Terrakay at his side, they scramble over the fresh wreckage of their gambit. They do not look back. They are shadows fleeing a tomb of their own making, running on feet that bleed and lungs that burn, but running free. This was more than an escape. It was a declaration. In that cage of bone, trapped and facing certain death, a flicker of defiant brilliance was kindled. They did not simply endure their prison, they analyzed it, weaponized it, and ultimately tore it down upon the heads of their tormentors. This single, unrecorded act of desperate ingenuity is a microcosm of the entire saga of human evolution. It is the story of the thinking mind refusing to accept its place as prey. It is the moment our ancestors learned that the most formidable weapon was not a sharper rock or a stronger arm, but a plan born of shared desperation. This is the brutal genesis of strategy, the bloody dawn of engineering, the core of our species' audacious climb. From this crucible of fear and intellect, a new kind of animal began to shape the prehistoric world, one that would one day look upon the bones of giants not as a tomb, but as raw material for its own ascent. Their struggle echoes in our DNA, a primal reminder that every cathedral, every spaceship, every city stands on a foundation laid by ancestors who, when trapped, chose not to die, but to bring the sky crashing down. This is not a story of heroes, it is a chronicle of the blood, bone, and brutal calculus that purchased our dawn. But on the Great Plains, the earth itself has learned to hunt.